Hey, everybody. I am so unbelievably excited today to have Dr. Shefali here with me talking about her new book, The Parenting Map. Sorry, we both have to have it up because it's just that good. Um, I think my sister heard you on Oprah and then sent me The Awakened Family back while I was pregnant with my first child. And it just drastically changed the way I thought about parenting and relationships and prioritizing connection. Dr. Shefali is the best-selling author of The Conscious Parent, The Awakened Family, A Radical Awakening, which I really want to talk to you about, but we're not going to talk about today. And now The Parenting Map. She's famous for integrating Eastern spirituality with Western psychology. And these books are so amazing because they're going to profoundly shift our relationship with ourselves and to our children away from control and manipulation towards connection and acceptance. Tell me if I made any mistakes on your bio, but thank you so much for talking to me today.
Of course, no mistakes. Thank you for having me.
So I think I'm going to start by asking you a little bit about the goal of being a conscious parent. And I think you start off the parenting map, which, by the way, is a how-to kind of reinterpretation of previous books, if I'm correct. You start off with the idea that we all want a deep sense of authentic worthiness. And I was wondering if you could talk about what authentic worthiness looks like and how it's tapping into. When you said, I think we all long to truly be seen and validated for our intrinsic selves, just gave me shivers. Could you talk a little bit about why you think we desire that and why that's an important sort of new vantage point?
Well, we desire that because it's our destiny and our right, but we've been stripped of that because of culture making us feel like we need to earn it. We get value from our form, from our homes, from our jewelry, from our degrees, from our children, from our beauty or lack of or whatever. And because we are always commodified according to these standards, then our intrinsic value is negated. So then we all go out into the world wanting this from others. But the sad truth is we don't give it to ourselves. We find it hard to honor who we are without the doing, without the achievement, without the success, without the accoutrements. And when you're with someone who can just allow you to be who you are because they are okay being themselves, don't you feel immediate relief and ease and flow? That's what we want to create with our children, where our children don't feel this pressure to be someone for mom or dad, to make them happy, to be valid for them. And sadly, our children not only feel that pressure, they feel like they can never meet the standard. And what a tragic way to spend our childhood, which is supposed to be the most carefree, most joyous time of our lives, feeling this pressure.
I want to talk a little bit about the unique relationship we have with our children. And you have this way of putting it into words that it's ironic how at the moment we're supposed to care for this person and be all responsible, but also let go of them. Can you talk a little bit about why our relationship to our children is so special and sort of oxymoronic? Is that the right word?
Yeah, it's so paradoxical. It's so tragically impossible because we are supposed to, care like we've never cared before. We're supposed to take care of them like we've never taken care of any human being in our lives. But people like me say, but they don't belong to you, or you can't own them. So you're like, well, then how the F do I do this? How do I take care of this being as if it's mine and their well-being depends on me? But then you're telling me I have no control. Like it just feels impossibly, overwhelmingly paradoxical. But there's an art to doing this where you have to let go of your ego. The thing that's stopping us from doing this and that creates the paradox is our ego, because ego wants it to be a two-way street. Ego wants something back. And what I'm proposing is that there's no giving, there's no coming back to you. It's just one-way street. You know how many times I tell my daughter, hello, it's not a one-way street. Because she's so been raised by me, so she thinks it's a total one-way street, which is what I did and messed it up for myself. But it's now a one-way street. And people who hear this will go, oh, that's ridiculous. Then the child doesn't learn to give back. The child doesn't learn to respect back. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying you call the children into the world. They are not here to meet your standards, to fulfill your ego, to meet your needs. They are here to be in their own body, in their own life. So in a way, it's a one-way street. Now, of course, in raising them, you can have a standard like, hello, you cannot steal my money. You cannot, vomit all over the place. You have to clean up after yourself. Of course, there's some basic citizenry that we can demand from our children. I'm talking about the formless aspects of expecting them to meet your fantasy. In that aspect, they don't owe you anything. And now in the basic, like be a human and be decent and clean up and don't be uncivil, yes, we can have an expectation, of course. And again, most children are basically civil. By the time they're 15, they're going to be citizens of this world, unless you've done a terrible job at even modeling that. I'm talking about the higher things, the formless things. Go to an Ivy League school, become a doctor, become an engineer, follow my religion, be straight, marry this person, belong in this society. Those aspects are simply your fantasies that you're putting on your children. So yes, we have to care for our children, but we cannot control them. Khalil Gibran said it best: give them your love, but not your thoughts. So give them your love, not your thoughts.
Why do you think, I feel like that's like a huge pushback that you get, the term control? Why do you think people are so scared of giving up control? Because I think your argument in the book is that we cannot control other people, and yet we spend our time trying.
Because these children come from us. So we're like, hello, I ruined my body. I'm spending all this money. I stay awake all night. You and I were talking about sleepless nights. So you owe me something back. And what you owe me is your whole mind. Just give it to me. I want to control your thoughts. I want to control your opinions. They're mine. They're mine. Your hair is mine. Your opinions are mine. Your beliefs are mine. And when we set up dynamics with that false delusion that the other person's thoughts, feelings, heart, emotions are ours, it is a sure recipe for disastrous suffering for both the person who is controlled and yourself. And this includes our partners, right? We want to control our partners. We're like, don't look at that woman. Find only beautiful. And then your husband is like, no, obviously I find this other person attractive. And you're like, I'm leaving you. Right? So it's our instinctual conditioning to control others, but it is also the cause of our suffering.
There was something also in what you just said a moment ago that I wanted to kind of linger on. In the book, you talk a lot about ordinariness and acceptance and being present as the goal and less of being happy and achieving things. And I think for me, I love existing in the feeling of relief. And there was such a burden removed thinking about myself and my child in the context of being ordinary. Can you talk a little bit about why or what the pressures are in our culture that make for us feeling like we have to be extraordinary, and how ordinariness should be celebrated or can be celebrated?
Yeah, ordinary is a bad word. Average is a dirty word. Like, don't ever tell a parent that their kid is average. That is like an absolute, ominous curse that you're stating, because parents have been so conditioned to raise supersonic, super perfect, super successful children. Again, we didn't do all this just to have an ordinary child, right? We want some praise. We want the Publishers Weekly, the check. We want a trophy. We want to be knighted. We want something reward back for this hell. And that's why we mess it all up, because we're not okay with our own ordinariness, with our own average, that we want to raise average, supersonic children. When we are okay with our own average, we'll be okay with other people's average. And at the end of the day, all of us are average. Somebody could have a unique talent, but they're still bloody average in most other things. You cannot be a superstar in everything. And even if you're a superstar, doesn't mean you're special. You're just unique. But we're all unique. And we don't have to be superstars. Everybody cannot be Adele singing to stadiums. And poor Adele, who knows how she happens it, right? Obviously, she's had a hard road. Listen to any song, right? So let's not covet being in the spotlight, and let's not over pedestalize this super idea, image, fantasy of achievement. Let's be okay having an ordinary day, an ordinary life, and just enjoy the moment and rest and play and pause and be calm. Can we honor those qualities? And children especially need that to develop. And we're robbing them of that in the most sacred time of life, which is childhood, where they need to replenish, rest, restore, and rebirth every day. And we're stealing it. I remember when my daughter would be a child and she would be like, Mom, but I'm tired. I was upset with her. I was like, hello, be tired some other time. Be tired when you grow up. Now you need to prove to me that you're amazing. But of course I didn't. I just watched my ego come up, but I absolutely made her rest. And she was resting all the time. And even now I joke with her because I'll text her, she's in college. I'll be like, what are you doing? She's like, resting. I'm like, oh, no one does it better than you, Maya. So she honors her resting time. But that's so counterculture. That's not how we were raised. We were raised to do, and be busy. And that has killed us as a culture.
Yeah, I feel that deep in my bones. And actively, one of my goals right now is trying to relearn how to rest and be still. And it's hard.
Yes.
There was another term I think that came up earlier in the book, intuition. And I think prior to having a child, I was told, I think that I would just know how to do it. My body would just instinctively have an idea that I was going to raise this other child and we would be linked. And I was wondering if you could kind of talk a little bit about, again, this term relief comes up. I didn't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. And it's constantly a process. Can you talk about why it's important to change our mindset from like instinctively knowing to that we don't know, and that we have to learn how to develop a relationship with our children?
It's a game changer when you move from this pressure that you need to know it all. I need to fix it all. I need to create the best child. I need to reach the goal of successful adulthood, versus saying, I don't know what I'm doing. It's moment by moment. Let me get help. Let me surrender. Let me be in the curious state of not knowing. It's a game changer, because one imposes oneself onto the situation and the other joins the situation and flows with it. When we come into the house and we expect our children to have done everything on our list, and we want to control everything they do for the rest of the night, we have this sergeant, commander, control, boss energy. It's a horrid energy to be around. No one wants to be a boss. And when we move to, I'm going to see where my child is, we're all really tired, we're just going to flow, see what we're going to eat for dinner. Maybe we'll wing having a shower, we just wash our face instead. We just chill and calm down. We enter with a very different energy. Just that. And no parent likes being in sergeant mode. We hate it. It's horrible. It's like you feel you have to like run this ship and run by these rules, and we're fixated on the time, and the clock owns us. How many times do we look at the clock a day? Like, oh my God, we're getting late. Oh my God, we've not done this. Oh my goodness, there's more to do. We can't live like that. So to truly enjoy life, you have to go counterculture and make this huge paradigm shift within yourself to say, I'm not going to be ruled by the clock. I will be ordinary. I will have an average day, and I just want to go to sleep right now. And I'm not here to fix anything, and I'm not here to live for tomorrow. I don't care what my kid does when they grow up. You have to release all that. And then you enter the moment, you play, you're joyful, you're calm, and you're relaxed. I remember so many times when I would enter the bed to put my daughter to sleep with the attitude of, we need to sleep by 9:02. And I always messed it up because my energy was so controlling. Versus the nights that I said, you know what? We sleep whenever, and I'm just going to fall asleep right now. And I would fall asleep, and then she would just fall asleep with me. When I didn't make it a production, when I didn't create a timetable, the calm created the sleep. And calm is often the medication for most of our problems. And we don't realize how cheap it is, how easy it is, how free it is, how available it is. We are missing the greatest strategy of all, which is regulation.
It's incredibly difficult to be regulated, especially with our children. I think in the book also you talk about feelings and emotions, not labeling them good or bad. And I think that that's something I feel like I get pushback on when I talk about. And I was wondering if you could talk about, you had a really clear way of defining feelings and the separation from feelings and emotions, and then also how they aren't the value of them and how to move through them. Sorry, that was a long one.
Yeah, so feelings are just a feeling. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling jealous, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And feelings, as we know, are meant to be felt. The emotion is when we feel like the feeling needs to be shown to somebody else and through a reaction. And it's very hard. We almost feel that the feeling needs to be expressed. But the feeling needs to be felt, which is inward. The feeling to be expressed is outward. Let me show my partner that I'm really mad, versus feeling it first and then just staying in the feeling and saying, I'm really mad. I'm having feelings. I'm mad. I'm trying to sit with them, but right now I want to punch you. But I know punching you is not the answer. But I'm having uncontrollable feelings. I'm having feelings. I'm feeling very mad. And then you can go and scream. You can punch something. You can write about it. Then you go to the object of the pain and talk to them about it, because otherwise it's going to be a disaster.
Um, can you talk a little bit about why feelings aren't inherently good or bad?
Because they're just transient expressions of momentary inner child pain. They're just in the moment, and we take them too seriously. Now, I'm not saying to ignore them and deny them, but also don't take them so seriously. Just let them pass in a wave and see how you feel tomorrow. How many times have we felt better the next day? I mean, I don't take my own advice, trust me, because I fall into the trap that if I'm feeling something, I need to express it right now. And 99%, it's a mistake. I always regret, why the hell did you open your mouth? Wait till tomorrow. And the few times when I've waited till tomorrow, I've not even remembered the feeling. So we don't practice just sitting with the feeling. We're so nervous of feelings. We're so scared of these feelings that we want to expunge them. We want someone to hold it with us, but we just need to sit with it for a long time.
I think another thing that you could get pushback on, and correct me if I'm wrong, um, when you start seeing people, a phrase I think in the book you tell people is, your kid is not the problem. You, um, you, can you talk a little bit about why
Sure.
that's important and how parenting has been traditionally seen as fixing a problem of someone else's, like your
Yeah.
child?
So there are a few steps to this. Because we were told that we should know how to parent and we should be in control, we thought we should know how to parent and be in control. And we thought we are in control and we are the best parent. So we come with this superiority, this delusion of superiority. Then, when the child doesn't follow what you're saying and doesn't listen and makes you feel like shit, you're like, oh my God, I know I'm supposed to know. In fact, I know. And this child is not letting me feel like I know. So obviously the child is at fault. But what's at fault is this delusion that you think you're supposed to know. But as long as you think you're supposed to know and be in control, you're going to think that, okay, then obviously I know and I'm in control. So if something is going wrong, it can't be me. It has to be my child. So I'm going to blame the child, fix the child, yell at the child, punish the child. And we have this thing called discipline. I'm going to discipline the child, which is just total bullshit. It's just supreme tyranny and control. So it starts from this idea that we should know and we should control. And if we started with a different idea, then no, you don't know. It is most likely you are not regulated, you are not healed, you have to grow up. Now when the child does something wrong, you're not like, oh my God, I have to fix the child. You're like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? So it's a game changer.
Oh no, it's incredible. It's yeah, ever since I read The Awakened Family, I've been really trying to work on regulation. And it's definitely taking some time. It's weird too to think about I was like, oh, I thought I was conscious. I thought I knew kind of was self-aware enough, but I definitely question if self-awareness is actually possible. I have like 20 more questions to ask you, but everybody's just going to have to get the parenting map because we are out of time. Something that I really wanted to thank you for is thank you also for being so vulnerable and using your life. Um, I think that there's like really this delicate line on how you can be an expert about something, but also admit that you've made mistakes. And I think that there's something so amazingly human and revolutionary in this book. And I actually, there's a meditation I'm going to link to that you have whenever your child is kind of, you're in a difficult moment that I've used several times to just help cool myself down and get back into a state that I feel comfortable acting within. So thank you so much for doing what you do. And thank you so much for talking to me today.
I'm
Take
so
care.
grateful, and go buy the book, The Parenting Map.
Yes. Take care.